Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Right now the tension on it is too high for ADA. They're complaining that it's old, and your first initial thought is when a spring wears out it gets easier, but maybe it's just always failed and they've just noticed it. Maybe it's friction that's causing it. I don't know why. It's been there for 30 years, obviously, so I'm trying to find out if there's an adjustment, disconnect, if it can be rebuilded for less tension. I guess there's a bunch of questions in there, but I don't know enough to really know. You guys know everything about them.
So the short answer is that closer will never become compliant with ADA regulations for reduced opening force.
Okay. And then is there a disconnect to make that a bearing?
Would you be able to yank it out of the floor, ship it to us? We would perform a repair, rebuild service on it and then hobble its connection to the spring? Yes.
Okay.
However, there is a piece of equipment that you might be able to make work called a pivot conversion, where you replace, and the problem is I don't know if there's a pivot conversion for that Rixson 60 series.
Well, that was I have a little machining capabilities. Now, I don't know how that in-floor mounts, but I'm pretty certain that we would be able to make a plate. You take the closer out, put a plate in, and then replace the bottom of the door with like one of your Rixson offset hinges with a bearing, like they use for the storefront doors. If we made an adapter plate, my thought was originally that just disconnect it completely and put a surface mount closer on the outside of the door. We just have to get it free spinning is what we would have to do, so that way there's no resistance. So that was my second thought. First thought is to call you guys up and see if we can do anything about it, replace it, rebuild it, whatever. But since the short answer is we can't get it to do that. It's up to about 10 pounds right now, 10, 11 pounds. I've had it seen as high as about 12 to 13. So it's getting up there, but it's not really that bad. We're not seeing a whole lot of resistance. They're just asking me what we can do, and since the whole courthouse, it's a courthouse, that's got a whole bunch of these, I'm sure once we do one, they're going to probably start making it a more regular item. So we have to kind of make sure it's a good answer to the problem.
Indeed, something that you can repeat and be profitable on. So the way that the pivot conversions work is they basically have a new arm that fits over the shaft, and it's got nothing in it other than a bearing raceway. So so that's the concept. The problem is they don't have one for the 67. There is no modified bottom arm. So having said that, it may not be the least expensive, but it might be the most elegant to simply pull the body, have us do our thing to it, so that it just will give you the version of a bottom pivot, and then apply your surface-mounted closer to it. Based on you digging into it and saying, this may not be really worth the time to do this repeatably, reliably, predictably. If you can figure out a way to sidestep all of that, 2 thumbs up. But if you can't, then the cleaner, more expensive option may be the way to go.
Well, the other thing is, too, is I know how that these are kind of a commodity, and, I don't like butchering old things because somebody needs it somewhere else, and if we've got a repeatable item, and we can get those to a remanufacturing place like you guys, if I'm taking them out completely, maybe it might be a better option to get you guys and I don't know, and figure it out, because I just, the whole thought of just throwing it away in a landfill eats me up sometimes, on doing this. I don't mind doing conversions, leaving them in the floor. They're still functioning, everything's fine. But if I pull this thing out and we find an option for it, rebuilding them is always an option. But it's just, I don't like the idea of throwing stuff away like that, because it's old and you guys rebuild them and remanufacture. You do good work, because it really is a benefit to fixing things. Sometimes I'm the old school. I hate throwing things away too much. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we'll just buy brand new. We throw everything away and it just goes in the landfill and we're just filling it. So I don't know. That's a little bit of a rant, but I've got the few options that you gave me. What's your name?
My name is Richard.
Richard, thank you very much, Richard. I may be calling you back. I'm going to tell them the options, because they're going to probably want me to kind of pull it apart, look for what I can either manufacture and make. Now the those go in the floor. They set in that box. Is there mounting screws for those?
When you remove the cover plate, you'll get access to the fasteners that hold it down to the floor.
Okay, so there are fasteners. Because I think I've seen some of them to where they're just adjustable screws, but it's a completely different closer. So I'm not familiar with these, but I need to make sure that we can do something about it. So we may do some more investigative work, take the actual door off, and I'll see what we can do. I do know you guys have some top and bottom bearing pivots and things like that. I've disengaged some of your other ones. I'm not sure which ones they were, but they asked me to disengage them, and I've pulled them apart internally and just let the bearings that you have inside those things just pivot and open up, and I disengaged the spring. So some of these have worked, but that's more of an immediate. They were slamming, they were fixed, they didn't have time, and it's an emergency because it was a fire exit or so. So we've done those to where we've disengaged them so that people can get out without them binding. All right, well then let me give you a call back as soon as I tell them their options. And now you guys have some of those. We would be able to order them, or we have to send them to you first.
I would have to know the hand, the degree of opening, and the function, hold open or non-hold open. I know that I believe I've got a couple of them laying around, but I think they were only right hand or left hand only. So we'll figure that out and let me know, and I'll tell you exactly whether or not we're going to have that. Or, well, the bottom line is we're going to have to do a repair on it to disable it. So the issue that we're having is that the courtroom can't have a breach, so it would be preferable. We can't shut the courtroom down. So once I disconnect this thing or take it out or whatever, I can't have the door open. The sheriffs won't let me do it, so that's the issue. I'd have to have the closer first, and then if you don't have one from another part of the property that you can rob from, it might be that there's no way to do it in that case, because I don't physically have one to send you. But we might, though. Find out. I know I've got some 68s here, and that's for a different size of door. But since we're going to disable it, I might have the guts of what the shell of what you need.
What's the 68 series? What's the difference? It still works on it's just the size?
Yeah.
Is it more of a tension?
It's the size of the door, so the footprint would be the same. So find out
the hand. I mean, if you had a smaller door, a 68 would work on a 67, though, correct? Or is it
doesn't matter if there's going to be no spring involved. So as long as you have a free spinning spindle. So find out your size, find out your hand, find out your function. Let me know, and I'll check to see if I've got one sitting here.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program.